So in the past year or so, we've seen lots of new luxury EV MPVs coming into our market, and all of them are actually hailing from China. But if you look at data.gov.my's data, as of April this year, the most popular luxury EV MPV on our market is actually this thing. This is of course the Denza D9, the first model be launched by Denza Malaysia, and we have already actually driven the all-wheel drive version of this car back in Johor, but today we got the supposedly entry-level advanced FWD variant of this car. So in today's video, we're going to answer your question whether the FWD model is just enough for you or not. My name is Mukhlis, this is Caricarz. So, what is actually Denza? In case you didn't know, Denza is actually one of the luxury sub-brands under BYD, which is, of course, we know, the largest NEV automaker in the world. And in Malaysia, the Denza D9 is actually its first model to be launched earlier this year. And this is, of course, the luxury flagship EV MPV for the brand. And it's come in both PHEV and EV, but of course, for our market, we only get the all-electric version so far. Okay, in terms of design, you can see the Denza D9 here looks very like your typical luxury MPVs like your Alphards and Velfires and whatnot, and it is certainly the most conventional and the most conservative looking of all its Chinese adversaries. And maybe that's why it's quite popular amongst Malaysians, because Malaysians, as we all know, really love their Alphards and Velfire, and this is essentially the all-electric version of those models. But of course, in terms of dimension, you can see this car is actually quite big, and it is certainly, of course, on par with Alphard's and Velfire. It measures over 5 meters long. As you can see, I, as a big guy, look quite small while standing beside this car. So it is a big car, it's a luxury car, so essentially it is an all-electric version of your Alphards and Velfires. But if you look a bit closer, you'll notice that the FW model does bear a slight design change over the all-wheel drive model, especially at the front, because you can see it comes with just the standard LED headlights where you don't have the same extended LDRL we saw on the all-wheel drive model. But still, overall, the car still looks nice, dare I say. But the good thing is actually, if you move to the side a bit, you can see it still uses the same 18-inch alloy wheels with this multi-spoke design as the AWD model. And the good thing about this, actually, this scale is actually the smallest compared to any other, because most of other EV MPVs China out there uses 20-inch wheels, but this one uses 18. Why is good to have smaller wheels? Because smaller wheels meaning that you get less roller resistance, so in theory you get more range for this EV. And of course, you also got high profile tires, so meaning in theory it gets better comfort in terms of ride and handling. And of course, in case you burst out this tire, it's actually cheaper for you to replace the tire. And speaking of tires, it uses this Continental Premium Contact C tire, which is quite good, there I say. So overall, the FW model in terms of equipment is quite good. Alright folks, so now we're inside the Denza D9 FWD. Of course, when you buy this kind of big of a car, of course you expect tons of luxury amenities inside, and that's what you exactly get when you get the D9, even in this supposed entry-level FWD variant. Okay, as you can see at the front here, it gets a very typical front dash cockpit setup, which I kind of like, because of course, being a Chinese car, you always gotta have a large center entertainment display. This one 15.6 inch, and it comes standard with both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wireless, no need to wait for an update. And more importantly, also supports streaming services like YouTube, Spotify, and you even can play games inside the infotainment, which is quite good. And just like an infotainment, you can access all the vehicle settings and everything from here. Besides that, you also got the smaller digital meter cluster, very colorful, very intuitive, but being the entry-level model, you don't get the head-up display like the AWD model. But one good thing about the D9, and like many other BYD products out there, is actually they retain quite a number of physical controls and buttons, unlike some of their more minimalistic Chinese counterparts. For example, you can see the dual-spoke steering wheel got lots of buttons, left part for the others, right part here for the infotainment and whatnot. And if you can see at the center console, you got tons of buttons where you really need to take a time to learn about these buttons, because not only you got the buttons to open up the sliding doors, you got also other buttons for the climate control, drive mode selector, Great regen. You can even open up the built-in fridge at the back using the button here, and of course you got the gear shifter. And speaking of which, at here also you can see lots of premium materials playing around here. Like for example, the gear shifter here is still a physical shifter, and you can see it comes with this very stunning looking crystal gear knob that looks like something you can find in a Volvo, if you know what I mean. And at the front you also get this fake wood veneers, leather upholstery on the front dash and everything, and of course the front two seats, and they are wrapped in this premium brown hued leather. Mind you, the FWD only comes with this brown upholstery, which I think looks quite okay. Maybe some prefer all black, but this kind looks quite good. And of course, the two front seats are not only powered but also ventilated. And driver's side, of course, got the mirror function, but you don't have the massage function like you see in the all-wheel drive, but still okay. Of course, other amenities include this 50-watt wireless charger with cooling pad here. You got multiple USB charging ports down here, 2 cup holders, and that's extra storage down here. And not to forget, you also got a small panoramic sunroof and a 14-speaker 10 audio sound system that sounds quite good. So overall, even in this entry-level spec, the front cockpit setup for the D9 FWD is quite premium. But of course, you buy large luxury MPVs like this to have this amount of space and premium, and there's no other better place for you to sit inside this car except of course for the second row, because the D9 here comes with a 3-row configuration, 2-2-3 sitting layout, so it's a 7-seater MPV. But the second row, of course, it comes with these 2 captain style chairs wrapped in the same brown upholstery as the front one. They are not only powered, they're also ventilated and got a massage function. Yes, entry-level models also got massage seats, man. And each of the seats, you can see it comes with this dedicated control panel where you can control almost every bits of the car. You can control the infotainment at the front, you can control the music, you can control the seats, to open up the window, open up the doors, even the climate control and everything. You can just do right here at the here, so you don't really need to shout to your driver, you can just do it on your own. Okay, other than that, each seat also comes with a dedicated 50-watt wireless charging slot at the side here, and it also comes with a single USB-C charging port, so charging your devices in the D9 is definitely not a problem. And other things also, you can see each rows of seat got their own dedicated AC vents. For the second row, you got things up there, same goes to the third row. And if you notice at the center console here, yes, this car comes with a built-in refrigerator that not only keeps things cool and chilly, it can go as low as -6°C. So theoretically, you can store up your seafoods, or if you go buy grocery, you buy some meats and everything, you can just keep it frozen inside here. But this thing also doubles as a heater, so you can really heat foods at up to 50 or 60°C, so you can keep things quite warm. For example, let's say you're tapao some food somewhere, you want to keep it warm, you can just keep inside here too. And in case you want some place to eat your food, yes, this car comes with a built-in storage tables. You can do your work, you can eat inside the car, whatever you please. And in case you need some extra privacy, there's also built-in privacy blinds for the windows at the back here. And in case you get bored on the road, there's a sunroof up there to keep you quite entertained. So overall, space at the back here, it's very premium, very luxury, even for a supposed entry-level variant. And folks, as you can see, live at the third row seat of the Denza D9 here is actually quite level, because we rarely highlight the space at the back here in most cars, because frankly their space are too tight, but not the case for the D9, because as you can see, there's plenty, quite ample legroom. But of course, you need to move the second row seat a bit to the front, and headroom is also quite decent. But of course, according to Denza, they said the third row is supposed to be a 3-seater, but I think for adults, I think 2-seater is more ideal, because as a result, you'll get this built-in armrest. But in case you need to seat 3 passengers, you can always fold it up and you got space for 3. Okay, amenities also not bad. Not only you get dedicated aircon vents at the back here, you also get 1 USB charging ports each, Type-C USB. There are 2, meaning that at the back, and you also get 2 extra cup holders here, so meaning that you can have a drink at the third row here. And before I forget, the third row seats are also the backrest. You can recline the backrest by pulling the strap here, and you can go a bit further back, so meaning that the sitting position is quite relaxed, because the floor is not too tall and you can lay back the backrest, so it is quite relaxed and comfy at the back here. And in terms of boot space, even though with the third row seats up, you still get about 410 liters of boot space, which is expandable to over 2,000 liters if you fold down these seats. But 400 liters, I think, is quite enough, don't you think? So we've already known that the Denza is actually one of the sub-brands under BYD. So as a result, the D9 here uses the same BYD E-Platform 3.0 as other BYD EVs like the Sea Lion and the seal. Okay, this battery setup is actually got a 400 volt architecture, so it's not 100 volt like the E-Platform 3.0 Pro. But in terms of powertrain, we know this uses a single front-mounted electric motor rated at 308 horsepower or 230 kilowatt and up to 360 Newton meters of torque. So on paper, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes about 9.5 seconds, which is not as fast as many other EVs, but still quite fast for such a big car. And top speed is actually capped at up to 190 kilometers per hour. So on paper, you can see in terms of powertrain spec, it's actually much more powerful compared to your ICE-powered luxury MPVs out there. Alright, so in terms of battery, the D9 front-wheel drive uses the same 103.36 kilowatt-hour BYD Blade LFP battery as the all-wheel drive model. But of course, this is a single motor. You'll get slightly extra range out of this car because BYD claims the Denza D9 front-wheel drive can do up to 520 kilometers of WLTP range and energy consumption rate as low as 18 kilowatt-hour per 100 kilometers. So yes, in terms of battery spec, of course, this is much better compared to the all-wheel drive model. But in terms of charging, more or less the same. It supports AC 11 kWh and DC charging is capped at up to 160 kilowatt, enabling this car to charge from 30 to 80% in about half an hour. But one jarring difference between the all-wheel drive and this FW model is actually in terms of the suspension setup, because it doesn't come with the same BYD Dysa C adaptive dampers. Instead, it comes with this FSD active damper, where it just used to control the brake pitch of the car. So it's not really a comprehensive chassis adaptive setup just like the AW, but it still got some active element inside it. So theoretically, comfort can get quite good inside this car. Enough talk, let's drive. Right folks, so now we're driving the Denza D9 front-wheel drive Advanced. So the first thing you notice about this is being an all-electric MPV is how smooth the drive feels, because unlike the old MPVs where they use diesel and petrol engines where it can get quite loud, but not in this car. Things get very smooth, very supple, very luxury, which is what I like, which is what you want in this luxury MPV. Okay, off the bat, of course, single motor, you got less power compared to dual motor model, but there I see it's got enough power, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need those powers all the time. Even for this car of a big of a size, 370 Nm of torque is quite good, because you have to remember, EVs, they got instant torque. So it's not like engines where you need to rev up to a certain RPM, then the torque kicks in, but not this one. You pedal on it, it goes straight away, and it is easy to overtake this car or even use it on highways. Not a problem. But of course, in terms of handling, you cannot really talk much about it because it's still a large MPV model. So you're still susceptible to lots of body rolls and leans and everything. You still get those kind of things. But I have to say, a big compliment. Although this car doesn't come with the same Dysa C adaptive dampers as an all-wheel drive, the drive feel is still quite okay. Even if you go through bumps and everything, it feels still okay. It's not too alarming, not too jarring like other EVs out there. But of course, you buy a single motor EV, of course you want an extra range on it, and you really get extra range from this car, because BYD and Denza claims this car can do up to 520 km of WLTP range. Energy consumption is about 18 kWh per 100 kilometers. And I've been driving this car, a lot of it. Actually, I spend this car most of the time driving inside town, and I do occasional highway runs. Like for example, today we came here all the way in KLIA, so I really drive it. I really gun this car. So even when I'm gunning, I was driving quite fast. I still managed to get about 20 to 21 kWh per 100 kilometers, which is quite good for this size of a car. You cannot compare it to smaller EVs, but for this size of a car, that ratio is quite good. And in theory, I can get just under 500 kilometers of range if I'm driving like this. So goes to show that those claimed WLTP figures are not just stock, they are quite accurate. So good job, Denza, on that. But of course, in terms of ADAS, this is a modern Chinese car. Lots of it. You got ACC. I like the slow function. The low speed follow for the ACC is quite good. Of course, some of it can get quite jittery. Some people don't like it. You can just turn it off, no worries. But the others are there. It works quite okay. It works at advertised, so not a problem. So overall, I would say if you're looking for something like, if you're often go outstation long distance travel, I think the D9 front wheel drive might be a slightly better proposition to you, because you don't need the extra power of dual motor. You got an extra range. You don't need to charge more often if you go out of state travel. So it's pretty good. So D9 front wheel drive, it's good enough. But of course, you buy this kind of car to get tons of comfort and space at the back. And as you can see, you got all of that here in the Denza D9. Even in this base spec, front-wheel drive model. Okay, off the bat, one thing that I really like about this car is actually the good NVH level, because of course you don't have an engine to drive this car, it's an EV after all. But the fact that this car comes with double glazed windows, good tires which is Continental, which are good for this kind of silent driving mode, and you can hear I don't even need to shout inside this car to do this presentation, to talk inside this car. So goes to show that the NVH level is quite good. You only notice some windows once you go way beyond the highway speed limit. So for bosses, right, this is quite good. You can have your conference call, you can have a meeting inside this car in a very good thing. Okay, in terms of comfort, okay, let's be honest a bit here. It is not as good as the AWD model, because like I said before, this car, the front-wheel drive unit doesn't come with the same Daisashi adaptive damper setup as the AWD. So as a result, you're still susceptible to some little head toss, a bit floatiness, a bit rattling here and there, but it's not too jarring as like many other EVs I've been inside before. So it's still okay, but I have to say even the seats also played a huge role in keeping you intact, because you got all the side bolstering and everything. The positioning is quite good. You can do the zero gravity mode, and even comes with like things for the seats also quite good. You still got ventilated function, you still got basic massage function, which is more than enough, I have to say. So overall, in terms of comfort and everything at the back here, you got tons of space. I have to say the Denza D9, even in this base spec FWD form, is still a good boss car for you to seriously consider. Alright, so all in all, you can see that the Denza D9 FWD not only can go toe-to-toe against some of its petrol-powered luxury MPV rivals out there, and dare I say, this car actually does carry a certain few merits that actually makes it slightly better compared to the ever-popular Alphards and Verifiers out there. And for the entry-level advanced AW model here, goes to show that even it missing some key amenities like the adaptive suspension tuning and some other onboard amenities, you can still see that this supposed entry-level luxury EV MPV is still a good option for those who want to jump into the EV bandwagon and find a very luxury people mover. But of course, the most important benefit of having the FW model compared to all-wheel drive is in terms of price, because this car only retails at 259,000 ringgit. That's about 50 grand cheaper compared to the all-wheel drive model. And of course, for that price, you'll get the same comprehensive warranty setup as the all-wheel drive model. And more importantly, Denza Malaysia also offers first of its kind cross-border warranty protection, meaning if you take this car, go to Singapore and Thailand, you will get covered by the same warranty stipulation as if you're driving here in Malaysia, which is quite good to see. So meaning that cross-border with this car will be quite an easy experience. But of course, many people out there are still very skeptical about buying Chinese car brands, because let's be honest, they don't have exactly a good past here in Malaysia. But unlike last time, Chinese brands nowadays, most of them are coming directly with their own principle, meaning that their HQ in China are coming directly without any middleman, without any local partner and everything, unlike last time. So like same case for the Denza here, because unlike BYD, Denza in Malaysia is actually coming directly under BYD Malaysia, which is of course the local arm for BYD International HQ from China. So what's the benefit of you having direct principal coming into the markets like this? You actually not only get better pricing for your car, but also very comprehensive warranty setup, for example, like I mentioned just now. So meaning that you are more protected than like last time. But overall, if you are interested to buy a luxury all-electric MPV, then I think you should really consider the Denza D9 Advanced FWD.